Hi everyone, we're at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. I am here with Mark Ayranto, who is President and CEO of Silverco Mining. Mark, thanks so much for being with us.
Peter, always a pleasure, and thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Very exciting times. Silver over $100. It doesn't get much better than that, but it just might.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot happening at Silverco. You went public only a matter of a few months ago. Let's dig into it. And not only did you just go public, but you've already had a transformational acquisition, a mine called Lenegra. Perhaps you can tell us about that.
Sure. Yeah, no, Peter, you're really correct. I think our first day of trading was the 23rd of October, just last year. So not quite sure what that is, but call it 90 days. And on Monday, it was actually on Tuesday, we announced the acquisition of the Lenegra mine, as you mentioned. That is a producing mine in just a couple hundred kilometers north of Mexico City. It's currently producing, currently cash flowing. Now we have announced a binding LOI. That LOI is still subject to our shareholder approval and the kind of the customary other things, a fairness opinion, definitive due diligence, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So subject to all of those things, we will look to close on the acquisition, and that'll take a little bit of time, but it's really, if we can pull that off, it's really transformational. Takes us from the developer category right into the emerging producer, and with cash flow coming right now, we think really excel the company between that and as we move forward with our Cusi asset.
So very much hitting the ground running, going public, and then so quickly doing a transaction like this. Let's sort of slow down, back up a little bit. 2025 was really very big for Silverco in a number of ways. Like we said, you went public. Can you tell us a little bit background-wise how all this kind of came together?
Yeah, I mean, just as a reminder to your viewers, we formed Silverco in 2024 to acquire the Cusi Mining Complex off of Sierra Metals. We had that private for roughly 18 months. We acquired the property. We bolted on some real key claims that add a lot of value to Cusi going forward. We did 20,000 meters of drilling, and as we noted earlier, we went public in October. So it was a busy year to get there, or busy 18 months to get there. And then when we went public, I believe we had 11 news releases between our first day of trading and the end of the year. So it was busy. Obviously, with the announced acquisition that's pending still and currently under review with the exchange, we're off to a real busy start in 2026 as well. But we got an excellent team. We got an excellent shareholder registry. We want to be a 10 million ounce a year producer in the next 3 years. That's our vision. And with these two assets, we have we may get ourselves a good chunk of the way down the road, and really excited. I mean, I get to sit here and take a lot of the credit, but really it's the team, and we've got a great one, and we're building on that team as we go forward.
Super. So we had a panel just a little earlier, and one of the things that stood out for me was the share structure. I'm curious about that. That's not something you see that often, very tight, and maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's a great share structure. I joined the company in early 2025, so got to give credit to the guys that's formed it. Really wanted to make sure that we came out of the gate strong. And we've really made sure that it's a tight structure, no warrants. So currently we have 32.6 million shares outstanding. We fully diluted, we're under 40 million. And we closed on Tuesday evening after announcing the acquisition at $12.15. So it puts us in a market cap roughly $380 million Canadian. And then with the announced transaction, assuming that does go ahead, we will issue roughly 17 million shares. That will leave us with slightly less than 50 million shares outstanding. And at $12, that would give us a valuation. Currently, the market's giving us a valuation today on that back of that news of about $600 million.
Fantastic. Let's look at the prior asset, or the one you started with, and there's a lot of discovery upside. Maybe you can speak to a little bit about why and where there is so much discovery upside.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cusi is an asset that I think with our geological team, and we've got Carlos Beltran, he's a fantastic geologist, decades of experience, a Mexican national. He was a co-discoverer of Panuco, which Vizsla holds. So with his great team, there's really two things we think, principally how we view Cusi different than perhaps it's been viewed in the past. One is there were claims to the south called San Miguel that were not in Sierra Metals' hands. They were disputed claims that are cleaned up. We've bought them 100%. San Miguel is a very interesting target. It is principally 4 veins that are just subvertical. When we first started marketing, I suggested that it could get up to 20 million ounces, if you recall. We're already 10 million ounces in the M&I category and 17 million ounces in the inferred category. So combined, we're already ahead of target. It's still open at depth. It is still open along strike. And importantly, what we're seeing is at depth, the veins seem to be blowing out. Now, veins pinch and swell, so we'll see what the continuity of that is, but it really makes for very exciting and productive mining widths and getting a lot of tonnage out of San Miguel. And that is roughly in the M&I category, it's 250 grams per ton silver. And just a reminder that Cusi itself is very highly leveraged to pure silver. It is amongst the top of all our peer group in terms of pure silver leverage. So it's an exciting property that way as well. Secondly, the other upside that we see and perhaps was either unrealized before or just not, others were not able to capitalize on it. We're obviously in a very good silver market, but the Cusi itself comprises of a rhyolitic tuff that hosts the mineralization, and it is bounded on the east by the Cusi Fault. That Cusi Fault previously was understood to truncate mineralization, so there was no potential to the east of the Cusi Fault. We've now demonstrated along several kilometers along strike, at depth, we're actually seeing mineralization across or what was believed to be across the Cusi Fault. And what we believe now, and we've demonstrated that with the drill bit on 3 different locations. What we believe now is that to the east are some downthrown blocks of the same rhyolitic tuff. We're encountering that roughly at 250 meters at depth vertically. But importantly, we appear to be higher up in the epithermal system. So that's really good for precious metals. And we're seeing, with the drilling we've done to date, we're seeing good silver grades. We're seeing kickers of gold. And we're really excited about it. It opens up a big ton of potential. We've news released that we've dewatered Promontorio. That's where it was most recently mined. So we're prepping underground now. We can get underground drilling, and we'll plan to do some more drilling underground in 2026 and start further defining the extent of these downthrown blocks.
Excellent. Well, I will take gold along with silver all day long. Looking ahead into 2026, what is on tap for Silverco? What might investors look forward to?
Yeah, we're going to have a news-heavy year. I think obviously we've come out with this pending transaction, right. And subject to that getting approved and closed, we'll have a lot of news. It is currently running at 55% capacity. It needs a little bit of capital to get it up. So we'll obviously, once we're able to describe that in more detail and provide a technical report, we can talk in more detail. There's going to be lots of news flow coming out of that. We continue to be on track with Cusi, so a restart plan here later this quarter. I'll call it 6 weeks or so from now. That plan will define the initial restart capital, the production profile, the AISC, and depending on what silver prices we can use, that's a big debate these days, we'll show the economics. So we'll get that study out, and on the back of that, our aim is to get underground, restart the mining, and then commission the mill again and ramp up production through to the end of 2026. So be a lot of news flow through there. We'd like to get doing exploration again at Cusi. I can see on the order of 30,000 meters. We're planning that out, and we'll get some news on the exact details in the near future. And then at Lenegra, again, assuming that all closes as we hope and expect it will, there's probably 15 or 20,000 meters of drilling there. We see some real potential, and again, we'll get a ton of news out. I think the other thing is we'll get mineral resource estimate update out for Cusi, and we'll probably get some form of study out for Lenegra. So I think with all the drilling, with getting into production, with ramping up Cusi, we're going to have a very news-heavy year. The other thing is we're talking with a number of people to hopefully join Silverco. There's some pretty household names in the silver space, so hopefully we can news release that later on this year as well.
Excellent. Very catalyst-rich year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've said that you want to become a 10 million ounce producer. Like you said, with Lenegra, assuming all goes well and that closes, you're going to be essentially halfway there. Can you just speak to maybe how the rest, you'd see the rest progressing? Yeah,
so between Cusi and Lenegra, we'll be a big chunk of the way there, and we'll be able to provide guidance,
right?
A bit better guidance going forward here soon. And there's both of those operations. I think there's good optimization potential to increase off the base. But to your point, to hit 10 million ounces a year within 3 years, if we can do that, we'll need at least one more acquisition.
Right.
We, in terms of M&A activity, there's a few things we look at. I mean, we look at sticking pretty close to our knitting. Mm-hmm. So we're building up expertise in Mexico. We might look in the United States or, a couple of jurisdictions in South America. Mm-hmm. And then we want to look at assets where we can add value.
Okay.
So these might be assets that are undercapitalized, need a better skill set on the mining, are a wrong fit or something like that. So we're not looking for assets that are technically challenged,
right?
And we're not looking for assets just to pay up for them and hoping silver goes to $200. Exactly. We hope it will, but that's not the game plan to rely on. So, I think there's it's an ambitious goal, but I think we've got the right team, we got the right shareholder registry. We've obviously got a very conducive market to do that, and we're going to work really hard to see if we can get there.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's been a great overview of Silverco. Any last words to kind of give viewers what, kind of an overview what to expect?
Yeah, I think end of the day, we're new to trading. We've been trading roughly for 3 months. And, assuming that the Lenegra transaction comes through, you can look at our peer group, and in addition to the great management team, and we think we'll be able to talk about a low capex to restart or to ramp up further, and near term to cash flow. We're also quite cheap compared to our peers. And end of the day, most people are in this to make some money.
That's right. And
I think that's a key differentiator for us. And really, it's we just announced the transaction that's in Lenegra. We've only been trading for a short period of time. We haven't enjoyed the run rate that most of our peers have.
That's true.
And with the news and the catalysts we've got for 2026, I fully expect we'll at least start catching up. That's the real value proposition, I think, that differentiates us more than all the other details.
Excellent. Well, we'll be sure to watch all the progress and wish you the best.
Thank you, Peter. It's always a pleasure.